Hi, welcome again at Web Summit. I'm Ines Alves from Next Big Idea. We are having a series of conversations powered by the European Investment Fund, and I'm here with Vasco. Tudo bem? So, a little bit of Portuguese, you get. So, I'm here with the CEO of Unbabel. We were here a year ago,
Yep.
actually, and everyone was talking about AI. But in this year edition of Web Summit, it's like in every stage,
Oh yeah.
yeah, all over the
AI is
place.
everywhere.
It's mainstream. AI, it's not something new for you guys, but can we say it's mainstream now?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I think that the whole premise of Unbabel was this idea that AI was going to massively disrupt a bunch of industries, and we wanted to focus on translation and how to make it easy for companies to operate in multiple languages. But I think in the last year with ChatGPT and generative AI and kind of all the competition that's going on there, and
Yeah.
just the breakneck pace of releases, just incredible, right? Now suddenly everyone's using it for everything, and so it's kind of a brave new world.
Yeah, so now we were talking about that last year and we are talking about it again. Like some people are looking at it as it's going to change everything for the worse, but it's not your take on that. Like you think it's going to change things for the best.
Yeah, I think as with every new powerful technology, there's always advantages and disadvantages. There's challenges, but there's opportunity. I tend to be an optimist in general, and I think that AI is enabling a wave of creativity that has been unparalleled. I think we're just starting to see the beginning of the impact it's going to have in a lot of professions. I think for me, AI, and this expression came from Fernando Perez from Google. He described AI as a cognitive prosthetic, and I think it's very aptly named because it's this enhancement of human capabilities. It's A few weeks ago, there was a case in Porto where a professor asked the students to do 50 assignment, 50
Yeah,
papers, right?
yeah.
And every paper came without any mistake, any, grammar, spelling issues, right? And so what happens in a society where the baseline is so high, right? You could say, well, that seems scary, but I would say, well, if the baseline is that high, then what happens when humans then on top of that really take it to the next level? And that's what I'm really excited to see.
So it's no, AI is no new for you guys. So how it integrates with your technology?
It's at the core of what we do. So we essentially enable translation to happen very efficiently and scalably. And in some use cases, language pairs, AI is becoming the main driver of that, and in others not so much, right? So if you have more complex translation content like legal certification, you'll always need humans to kind of ensure that the outcome is correct. But if you're having a real-time conversation with chat, suddenly having the ability for AI to step in and kind of manage that conversation and make sure that language is not an issue can be a massive asset. So I think it's a spectrum. That's kind of what we're seeing. There's a rapid development. I think generative AI will enable us to do to more complex use cases what the previous iterations of AI could enable us to do to easier ones. But I think it's the path that we've been seeing. I mean, if you think about it, Google was claiming parity with human translation in 2017, and there's actually more people translating now than there were in 2017. So
So we are always talking about opportunities. So this is AI is going to change every aspect of our lives, in our health, our finances, like everything. What's the paper of regulation? Because regulation is something that we're going to be hearing about at Web Summit a lot.
yeah, I think it's a very important topic. But some of the challenge with that topic is that there's an essentially different rate of development between ability to legislate and ability to develop technology. Legislation typically requires a thorough process that is driven by humans and human bodies, and so it's slow. But at the pace that companies like OpenAI are developing AI, it just becomes hard to develop effective regulation. So I think it's gonna take a little while to really we're gonna probably try a couple of times and not get it 100% right, but I think that one thing that humans are good at is iteratively getting to the right outcome, and so I think we'll find a good way to regulate situations where AI needs to be much more careful about the impact that it can have, and others where, quite frankly, it's kind of just creating an explosion of capabilities.
At the explosion of internet, I don't know if everyone was thinking about how is this going to change our lives? But with AI, it's different. So there's a lot of people thinking about we have to regulate, we have to be aware of what's changing, we have to be. It's not going to take us by surprise, or hopefully, it's not going to take us by
But it did, if you think
surprise.
about it. Like, look, and this was true in Unbabel, and it was true with every researcher I talked to. We were using language models for years before ChatGPT. No one really predicted ChatGPT, right? Even the people at OpenAI were like, we didn't think ChatGPT is going to be this popular. So there was even the people that can theoretically predict it, our brains function linearly, right? So we
Yeah.
think, there's a linear progression from where we are, but technology evolves exponentially, and it's very hard for us to really predict what the outcome will be, right? I mean, we thought we'd have hoverboards, and we have social networks, right?
Yeah. So you have the Center for Responsible AI. I want your take on that. What are you guys doing?
So the idea of Center Responsible AI is one to leverage the amazing resources that Portugal has in terms of AI from organizations and enterprises. So Portugal right now is the second country in the European Union that has the most adoption of AI
Yeah.
in the enterprise, to strong researchers, to interesting startups, and kind of putting it all together to create significant products that will impact society through AI, but in a responsible way. The frameworks, the data, the unbiased data sets, the way of building that kind of maximizes or minimizes the probability of issues, I think are the key focus of the Center for Responsible AI, and in bringing the players in the ecosystem that can make it happen from a multitude of angles.
So in 2023, when we were here at Web Summit, we were talking about how the next year is going to be about with investment and all. Like you guys had an investment in 2019, actually, a Series C. How important was for you guys to have this investment?
It was super important. I mean, this was right before COVID.
Yeah.
We didn't know what was going to happen, so it kind of gave us the stability to weather some turbulent waters. I think this year was complicated for late stage companies, I think, and for surprisingly, it's becoming more complicated for early stage AI companies because there's a lot of uncertainty on investors of like, well, am I investing in a company that will be a feature of OpenAI in 2 months,
Yeah.
given the rapid progress? But somewhere in between, like the more typical seed stage, early stage Series A, it's not, it hasn't been that affected, right? I think we're only going to see really the change in the market when we see interest rates come down and the IPO market opening up again, and that will have a kind of a domino effect in the other stages.
So I know you'll be talking here at Web Summit about Unbabel Hollow. Do you want to tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah. So Unbabel Halo was a project that we started a few years ago with this idea of can we decode what we were describing as universal language, right? And so there's some indication that if you take people that speak a different language, but you look at the areas of the brain that are activated when they think of the same object, and they're very similar. So we thought, okay, it would be really cool to be able to combine a non-invasive neural interface with a large language model and to enable silent communication, silent speech. And so we started working on this a few years ago. LLMs came at the right time. And the first application that we decided to focus on is enabling, so creating a device and a technology that enables patients with lock-in syndrome, so like ALS patients, to regain communication capabilities with their families. We've been developing for a few years. We now have something we're going to be demoing live today at Web Summit at 2, which hope it's going to be exciting. Live demos are always a bit nerve-wracking, but it's definitely an application of AI and hardware that has real impact in real people. There's 200,000 people in the world with ALS today, predicted to be 400,000 in a few years. So it's a problem that needs addressing, and it's incredibly hard. So for us, first use case of Project Halo is to solve immediate problems of people with communication issues, and then the technology will progress to enable augmentation capabilities to kind of regular people as well.
I'm excited to know more about Hollow.
Yeah,
Thank
excited to
you.
show it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Vasco. So keep with us. You know we are live at the Next Big Idea LinkedIn. So just click follow and we'll notify you every time we start a new conversation. See ya.